नमस्कार दोस्तों, डेली एमसीक्यू प्रैक्टिस में आपका स्वागत है। आज के इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स ये रहे आपके सामने। सो स्टार्ट विद द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन। नाउ द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज रिगार्डिंग द मनरेगा स्कीम, दैट इज द महात्मा गांधी नेशनल एम्प्लॉयमेंट गारंटी स्कीम. कंसीडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट. ओके, द फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट इज it provides the constitutional right to the employment to the eligible person in the rural area. So this statement is not completely true because the Manrega scheme is not provide the constitutional right to the employment to the eligible person. So this statement is incorrect because the Mahatma Gandhi National Employment Guarantee Schemes provide the employment to the rural area people, but it is not the constitutional right. Even in our constitution there is no provision regarding the employment, means there is no guarantee regarding the employment. So this you should know. But even though the article 16 talks about the equal opportunity regarding the employment. The next statement is that this scheme is the core of the core schemes of the union government. So this statement is correct, that the Manrega is the core of the core scheme of the union government. The third is it provides for the unskilled volunteer workers opportunity. This statement is also correct because in the Manrega the people got the employment under the unskilled sector, means you don't need the skilling there. This is just the manual labor exercise. Okay, so from here the statement second and third is correct. So our correct answer will be option number B. Now if we're going to talk about what is the core of the core schemes, so there are total 6 schemes that comes under the core of the core schemes of the government of India. The first is the National Social Assistance Program. Second is the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, known as the MG Narega. Third is the Umbrella Scheme for the Development of the Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribes, Development of the Minorities, and Development of the Backward Class and Differently Able and Other Vulnerable Group. So these are the 6 schemes that comes under the core of the core schemes of the government of India. Moving forward, the Manrega does not provide any constitutional right, as I told you, okay, for the employment. It is only the legal right. So this you should know, that to the non-universal, means that only to the people of the rural area subject to the norms of the act. So this is for especially for the rural India. So this you should know, and this scheme is of the voluntary nature only. It is not forced on the rural population to ask for the word. The scheme is provided for the unskilled manual work opportunities. So this you should know from the here. Now moving forward, if we see one more question regarding the PYQ, it is the MP-led scheme. MP-led means the Member of the Parliament Local Area Development Scheme. Okay, now so the first statement is the MP-led funds must be used to create the durable assets like the physical infrastructure, health and education. So this statement is correct, that the MP-led scheme is used for the formation of the durable assets like the physical infrastructure, health and education. The next is a specified portion of each MP fund must be benefit for the ST and ST population. This statement is also correct, that the MP-led fund should be used for the welfare of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe population too. The third statement is that the MP-led fund are sanctioned on the yearly basis and unused fund cannot be carried forward to the next year. So this statement is wrong because the MP-led fund can be carried forwarded to the next year. Okay, and the amount of the MP-led fund is 5 crore these days. Next is the district authority must inspect at least 10% of the work under the implemented under the implementation every year. So this statement is correct. So whatever work will be done in the MP-led scheme will be inspected by the district authority. At least 10% of the work should be inspected under the MP-led scheme by the district authority. So the correct option will be option number D. Moving forward, with reference to the prohibition of the employment as the manual scavenger and their rehabilitation, consider the following statement. Okay, the first is that the implementation of the act monitors by the National Commission for the Safai Kamchari. This statement is correct. The next statement is it provides for the vigilance monitoring committee limited to the subdivision and the district level. This statement is incorrect because the vigilance and the monitoring committee of regarding the manual scavenging is not limited to the subdivision and the district. It is up to the state and central level. So this you should know from here. So the second statement is incorrect. The third statement is that the act called for the survey of the manual scavenger and their rehabilitation. So the statement is also correct. So the statement first and third is correct. So the correct option will be option number C. You should know that it is the mandate of the Supreme Court that Supreme Court prohibited the manual scavenging. So it is said that we should totally avoid the manual scavenging because it leads to a lot of disease, and it is against the very humane nature of the life. So this you should know from here. So the correct option will be option number C. Now moving forward, something regarding this act is the Parliament passed the Prohibition of the Employment as the Manual Scavenging and Rehabilitation Act 2013. So the objective of this act is to eliminate the insanitary latrines and prohibit the employment of the manual scavenger and hazardous manual cleaning of the sewer and the septic tanks. You should also know whenever we are talking about the hazardous sewer and septic tanks cleaning, we also have the article 23 and 24 which talks about the prohibition of the employment of the children in the hazardous factory. Okay, so the survey of the manual scavenger and their rehabilitation, what are the main feature? The main feature is that the definition of the manual scavenger and insanitary latrines widened to cover not only the dry latrines but also the insanitary latrines. So not only the dry latrines will be covered under it, but even though the insanitary latrines will also be covered under this act. And you should also know this commission, that is the National Commission for the Safai Kamchari. Okay, now moving forward, the PYQ 2017 with reference to the prohibition of the Benami Property Transaction Act 1988, consider the following statement. The first is a property transaction is not treated as the Benami transaction if the owner of the property is not aware of the transaction. So this statement is incorrect. If you don't know the law, it doesn't mean you got the right to violate the law. So I'm trying to say that if a person don't know that the property was transacted or transferred on his name, so even then he will be charged under the Benami Property Transaction Act of 1988. So from here the option statement first is incorrect. The second statement is that the property held Benami are liable for the confiscation by the government. Yes, this statement is correct, that the government can confiscate the property or whatever is there if the property is Benami property. The third statement is the act provides for the three authorities for investigating but does not provide for any appellate mechanism. This statement is incorrect because this act provide for the appellate jurisdiction. So you can appeal against the law file or against the case file against you. You can appeal against it in the Benami Property Transaction Act of 1988. So the correct answer is B, because only the second statement is correct. Now moving forward, With reference to the e-Sanjeevani, which of the following statement is incorrect? So here it is talking about the incorrect statement. The first is, it is the telemedicine service providing the range of the medical consultations to the internet. So this statement is correct. The second statement is, it is launched under the Ministry of the Health and the Family Welfare. This statement is also correct. Ayushman Bharat programs act as the hub and the spoke model for the working of the e-Sanjeevani. This statement is also correct. And the fourth statement is that the location of the patient should be within the 10-kilometer radius of the hospital or the doctor. So this statement is incorrect. So from here it is asking for the incorrect statement. So the fourth statement will be incorrect. So e-Sanjeevani means the e, wherever you find the e means it is talking about the electronic, means the telemedicine facility will be there. Telemedicinal facility, so that one can consult with the doctor via the internet or via the phone conversation. Okay, now moving forward, PYQ question: which of the following is the purpose of the Uday scheme of the government? So what is the Uday scheme of the government? So Uday scheme is providing for the financial turnaround and the revival of the power distribution company. So the correct statement is option number D, that Uday scheme will be a scheme which will give the financial assistance to the distribution companies, or we call them as the discoms, and it will help in the revival of the discoms. So the correct option will be option number D. Now moving forward, with reference to the ALMA radio telescope, which was recently in the news. So there was a telescope named ALMA radio telescope which was in the news recently. Now which statement above is correct regarding the ALMA radio telescope? So the first is, it is the telescope located in the Ladakh regions of the India. So this statement is incorrect, because this telescope is not located in the Ladakh region of the India, but it is located in the Atacama deserts of the North Chile. So this you should know, it is located at the Atacama desert of the northern Chile. So it is in the South America. Okay, the second is, it can capture the universal images across the cloud. So this statement is correct. The third statement is, the US, Canada and the Japan are other partners nation in this project. So this statement is also correct. So from here the statement 2 and 3 is correct. So the correct answer will be option number C. Now moving forward, with reference to the ASTROSAT astronomical observatory launched by the India, which of the following statement is or are correct? So this is a PYQ. Now, other than the US, Russia and India is the only country to have launched the similar observatory into the space. So this statement is incorrect, because other than US, Russia and India, there is European Union also, Japan also. Okay, so the first statement is incorrect. The second statement is that the ASTROSAT is a 2000 kg satellite placed in the orbit at the 1650 kilometers above the Earth's surface. This statement is also incorrect, because the mass lift off by the ASTROSAT is not the 2000 kg, it is the 1513 kg. So from here both the statements are incorrect. So the correct answer will be option number D. Now moving forward, with reference to the protection of the women from the Domestic Violence Act 2005, consider the following statement. So the question is regarding the Domestic Violence Act of 2005. The first statement is, the act protects the right of the women guaranteed under the Constitution who are the victims of the violence of any kind occurring within the family. So this statement is correct. The next statement is, the act has provided for the appointment of the protection officer by the central government to report the instance of the domestic violence to the magistrate. Now this statement is incorrect, because the officer is not appointed by the central government, but it is appointed by the state government. So from here, the second statement is incorrect. The third statement is the domestic violence under the act includes the physical, sexual abuse, verbal and emotional abuse, and the economic abuse. So this is the correct option because all these type of violences comes under the domestic violence. So from here, the option 1 and 3 is correct. So the correct answer will be B. And you should also know that in the IPC section, there's a provision known as the 354. So 354 section IPC 1860 talks about that the domestic violence or anything done against to outrage the modesty of a woman. So this section you should know regarding the domestic violence or anything done against the modesty, outrage the modesty of the women. Now moving forward, the question is, which of the following statement is correct regarding the Maternity Benefit Amendment Act 2017? So, the pregnant women are entitled for the 3 months of the pre-delivery and 3 months of the post-delivery paid leave. So, this statement is incorrect because under the new provisions, women is going to have 26 weeks of paid holiday. Okay, so this you should know. So this statement is incorrect. The second statement is the enterprises will creche must allow the mothers for the maximum 6 creche visit daily. This statement is also incorrect because it is not 6 creche visit, it is the 4 creche visit daily. The third statement is that the women with the 2 children get reduced entitlement. This statement is correct. Now, this benefit of the 26 week of the paid leave is available only up to the 2 child. So if the any woman who is conceiving for the third time, she will not going to avail this thing, this entitlement. So that's why the women with the 2 children get the reduced entitlement for the third time. So this statement is correct. So from here, the option C will be correct option. Now moving forward, according to the IMD, that is the Indian Meteorological Department, a region has a heat waves if the ambient temperature deviates by at least 2.5 to 3.5 from the long term. So this statement is incorrect because the temperature range is not from 2.5 to 3.5, but it is from 4.5 to 6.4. So if the temperature range is from 4.5 to 6.4, it will be termed as the heat wave if the deviation temperature is between the 4.5 to the 6.4. The next statement is the IMD declared the heat waves if the maximum temperature of the station reach at least 45 degree for more than 45 degree for the plains and at least 40 degree for the hilly regions. So this statement is also incorrect because the temperature for the plains is not 45 degree, it is 40 degree, and for the hilly area it is not 40 degree, it is 30 degree. So from here both the statements are incorrect, so the D will be the correct option. Now moving forward, this is the definition of the heat wave. Okay, so you can read from here. Next is, so this is the also the temperature range if the heat wave is there, the departure from the normal from 4.5 to 6.4. so this is the normal range when there's a heat wave, and if the heat wave is the several, so the temperature will be greater than 6.4 degree Celsius. So this you should know from here. Now there's a there's one more PYQ. Okay, this is that in the South Atlantic and the Southeast Pacific regions in the tropical latitude, the cyclone does not originate. What is the reason? So it is not originate because it is the intertropical convergence zones. So this you should know from here. Now moving forward, with reference to the cultural history of the India, consider the following statement. Sant Sevalal was the social reformer of the Banjara community. So this statement is correct. The next statement is Pohra Devi, Karnataka, was also known as the Banjara Kashi, is an important pilgrimage center for the Banjara tribe. So this statement is incorrect because it is not in the Karnataka but it is in the Maharashtra. So this you should know from here. So the correct option will be option number A only. Now moving forward, consider the following statement. The first is the Bijak is composition of the teachings of the Saint Dadu Dayal. So this statement is incorrect because the Bijak is the composition of the Kabir, you know. So second statement is the philosophy of the Pushyamitra Marg was propounded by the Madhvacharya. So this statement is also incorrect. So from here both the statements are incorrect. So this is the last question. If you have liked the video, you can just subscribe our channel, spread the channel and connect it to the more videos. So till then, take care, goodbye, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.